Coming up, an emotional ceremony while local church members say a piece of their building has a piece of their heart.
Also, Texas DPS most wanted fugitive is caught. How law enforcement found him.
And counting your blessings, how a family walked away from a head-on collision.
Local, experienced, trusted. This is KETK Live at 5.
Good evening. You're watching KETK's Live at 5. I'm Frank Jefferson.
And I'm Katie Pratt. Thank you all for joining us. If you've ever lived in Tyler, then you may have noticed the First Christian Church's cross has been missing for 2 years. A ceremony was held today because it's finally back up on the bell tower.
That's right, and KETK's Lauren Margolis, she attended the service today and tells us how church members are feeling about it. Lauren?
Frank, Katie, I spoke with some churchgoers and they say they're emotional about seeing the cross back up. It was first taken down over 2 years ago when someone noticed it was leaning. Architects were worried it would be a safety hazard because of its height and location to the road. Now, after a lot of planning, the cross was able to be securely placed back up on the bell tower. Church members say they didn't realize how much they would miss it until it was gone.
I was here in '65 as a teenager when the church was built, and so it's always been a beacon of hope for the community.
This is the original cross from when the church was built in 1965. Churchgoers say they didn't think this day would come, feeling like First Christian Church would remain without a cross. You can see how happy they are to be celebrating this moment. And one of the church's ministers says they will be adding more features soon, like lighting, so the cross can be visible at night too. Live in studio, Lauren Margolis, KETK News.
We are moving on to breaking news. A multiple vehicle crash was reported between Lufkin and DeBall.
And we don't know much information at this time, but we are told that there are several injuries and traffic in the area is being rerouted. And we're going to keep you updated as we learn more. And if you want to learn more information, head over to our website. That's KETK.com.
A Lufkin woman is dead after being hit by a vehicle in Nacogdoches. The 23-year-old was walking in the roadway when she was struck by the car. Nacogdoches police were called to the scene near the Cook and Tire Service Center. The pedestrian was rushed to a local hospital where she died from her injuries. The NPD Traffic Division is on the scene conducting an investigation. In the meantime, all northbound traffic in that area is being rerouted. Police say drivers should expect delays and avoid the area. For more information about the incident, you can go to our website.
A mother and her 2 infants were taken to a hospital after a head-on collision in Van Zandt County. The outcome is not what you would expect after a tragic accident. The family was traveling down Farm to Market Road 17 near County Road 1222 when they collided head-on with a Ford pickup truck. Officials, what they said is that the crash was so violent the engine was knocked out of the car. You can see those pictures there on your screen, and that's the aftermath this wreck left. And thankfully, the mother was wearing her seatbelt and the babies were properly secured in their car seats. All parties are involved that were involved are expected to recover and be okay.
A Tyler suspect on the 10 most wanted fugitive list for his connection to a shooting death in May is now behind bars.
That's right. And DeKavion Scroggins, he was found and arrested by officers with Texas Against Gangs Task Force, Marshall's Fugitive Task Force, Tyler PD Priority Response Team, and Tyler PD Patrol, all without incident on Saturday night.
Scroggins was one of 2 men who were accused of shooting and killing Christopher Frank in May. The 27-year-old was wanted for capital murder, evading arrest, and parole violation. Former President Donald Trump delivered remarks at a rally in Phoenix, Arizona on Saturday. The Protect Our Elections rally hosted by Turning Point Action took place at Arizona Federal Theater. It comes as Maricopa County's 2.1 million ballots are being audited, although there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Additionally, the recount will have no impact on President Joe Biden's victory in the state.
When you look at all of the death and destruction that this election has caused, and when you see what's happening with inflation, when you see the real numbers of inflation and what's going on, and when you go to the pump today and you see $3.75, we were at $1.87 for a gallon of gasoline. It was the most corrupt, dishonest, and unfair election in the history of our country.
More than 80 years after his death at just 26 years old, and a World War II veteran, he's finally home once again, and Captain Edward Glenn Martin's remains were initially thought to be those of another Marines.
Now that he's been identified, his family can finally lay Captain Martin to rest. Valencia Wicker has more on the family's emotional journey.
To honor the life of a man you've never met.
He was more or less a part of my life, even though he wasn't alive.
It's become a bit of a mission for Lane Martin. His uncle, Captain Edward Glenn Walker Jr., was killed during the Battle of Tarawa almost 80 years ago. He was only 26.
He was in Harvard Law School and all when he decided to join the Marines. And then when he joined the Marines, you know, he was still a very young man. He was dating girls and having a good time, and just the adventure of what he was doing. His letters would tell that story.
What they thought were his remains were buried at their family cemetery some years ago. Only recently, the family found out there was a mix-up. Captain Walker's actual remains were finally brought home Wednesday. Full military honors while his family watched on.
When you least expect it, you get hit with these waves of emotion. I heard about that man all my life. My mother would cry even on up into her 70s when you would mention her name.
To honor the life of a man you've never met, the reverence of his sacrifice still lingers, even decades after his death.
A memorial service will be held here Saturday at Fairview Church. His nephew is set to speak on the family's behalf.
Exceptional Emergency Center, they held their first ever Family Fun Day at Bergfeld Park in Tyler, and more than 400 people, they showed up in just the first hour. That's a lot of people, which caused some long lines at the tents, which people could expect. And each of those tents, they were held by East Texas organizations there to give out free food, face painting, and snow cones. And several jump houses, they were there for children to enjoy. And leaders at Exceptional Emergency Center, they say this event was created to bring the Tyler community together.
Our mission was to be a part of Tyler's fabric of the community, to be a part of giving back and being part of the community. And we wanted to celebrate Tyler and us being able to actually gather outside and have a great time, because that's what Tyler's about, is community and being together.
Live music was provided by the Randall Armstrong Band, singing everything from Texas classics to Tennessee whiskey. And a raffle was going throughout the day, and people won Bluetooth speakers, water coolers, and school supplies. And the first thing you see when you meet a person is often their smile.
But for one Texas man, his smile was shattered by a troubled past. KETK's Corinne Benandi shows us his journey in a special report, A New Smile.
They say